Hi folks, Dana Bob here in a new Sandbox park. This one is called Port Prehistorique. It's built in the Mediterranean map, which is the semi-arid map, and it's something I've been building to try out a number of things, hoping to get the park large and see what it works out to. So this is starting on board a boat I built for a safari ride kind of boat in a previous park, and it's going to be symbolic of our approach into the park. The idea here is that this area is an island to our right near the coastline on our left. So we're coming in the channel now. I imagine cruise ships would be anchored off in the bay and send their tenders in. This map has seen a lot of terraforming prior to building any of the structures. You can see a bridge coming up ahead of us, and that's the entrance into the park proper. So we're going to come into the dock, moving along the shoreline here. You can see the building off the dock. That is the entrance hall. So we're, a little bit of lining up there to pull up to the dock. The dock to the left would be a larger ship or boat docking area. So let's get on board the pier. The guest generator is sitting right there, naked and open. An earlier version had a building over it, but it was larger than I'd hoped it would be. And if the devs get to the smaller guest generator they talked about, I'll be replacing that. The tower we looked at is a control tower where the staff can see the river and watch the shoreline and see the boats coming in. So that our handicapped guests would go around where we just looked to catch elevators up. And regular guests will go up the stairs, and of course that means all the functional guests in game. So the arches there where the elevator doors would be for our handicapped guests. I built this structure with these towers, and they extend out into the ticket booths, but it became something of a traffic issue. There's a large guest gift shop here with just a couple of things on the back wall to individualize it and fill in that space. And over here you see a path leading to nowhere, and the first guest restrooms. People coming in off the boat might need that. Anyway, that path to nowhere would ultimately be where the resort hotel would be. So we're going to head out through the ticket booths. In this video, you're already seeing a modification to those tower structures to make it easier for the guests to move in and out of the booths. It was not 100% successful, and I plan on replacing what you see here in terms of the supports to make it smoother. Right now it's not a problem because there aren't a lot of guests. You can see the decorations on the back side of the building there, and we have our first guest food amenity, coffee shop right inside the park with a little bit of seating area under a covered roof. And a sampling of the local flora that's found in this biome. And walking down toward the T-Rex statue, which is our centerpiece in the plaza here. Ultimately, I want a small animal over to the right where we're looking now. I didn't want to do one of the classic starter animals. I'm expecting eventually there will be some more one-star animals, and that's what I want to put there. The building we're looking at ahead of us is still not quite finished, and that's something you're going to find in the park. A lot of things are not quite finished, or are changed. I'm not 100% happy with what they are, and so there will be changes going through. So this is guest services. We've got, like all of the Paleogene parks, a statue for their first resurrected animal, a woolly mammoth. and there are a couple of topiaries in here, and beyond there you can see the Paleo Theater. We'll get a little closer look at that in a bit. So this is Port Prehistorique. I imagine it's probably on the Mediterranean coast offshore of France. Anyway, you can see the Paleogene sign is still having the bleached out A problem with the alphabet. And we're back out onto the plaza, walking over toward the bridge, but near the Paleo Theater. And this is, of course, non-functional, so that's no guests are going in there. But it's where I imagine orientation films would be held. I might want to do some more tricking out on that in the future as well. A larger guest room near the bridge. It seems to be it in its vending machines seem to attract guests, mostly the vending machines, from what we're seeing here now. This was the first time I used the iron rail and concrete pillar strength 1 fence as a railing, and it seems to have some issues with its lower piece. Sometimes it shows through the terrain, sometimes it does not. Mostly it does not. Look back up and down the river. The large building in the distance is the shell for the nursery. So it's sort of off limits to the guests. You can see that a lot of guests moving through here. At this point, I had something on the order of 8,400 guests. And that let me see a lot of problems with them clumping up in certain areas of the path. So this is our first welcome to the Mesozoic structure, the two hadrosaurs on a raised platform. It needs some signage when I decide what that will actually be. And you can see a sauropod sign in the distance. That will come up in a later video. And to the left is that first animal that I mentioned, and it's Ceolophysis, a small animal, good starter animal, the only Triassic animal currently in the game. And they have a shelter in the back, and their feeding platform is elevated in the hopes of drawing them up to be seen by guests coming across the bridge. You can see a row of posts being the wall on the back, and there's also some glass back there. And that's a look toward the feeding platform. And you can see a rock wall on the far side of that. Also another area where the guests can have an eye line to the animals. There's one up at the feeding platform now, I think, or nearly so. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back along here. The separator from the main path here is intended to highlight some of what Paleogene's sister company, Agrogenes, can do and how it can be applied in the park. And here the signage, should there be signage, would be talking about how they are working with arid biome plants and making them able to survive in non-arid environments, tweaking their genes, making them perhaps more able to draw less water from the environment, since they would be normally adapted to surviving on only intermittent water. So there's an aerial view of the area we've looked at today. You can see the round theater, you can see the guest services building, the entrance hall, and you can see the islandish nature of this section of the park. I cannot actually connect the water to the skybox water, so I make turns at either end, and when, up here you can see that they don't really connect. But down, as we're going now, if you look at it from down here, you can imagine that it connects as the water takes a turn and goes around a corner to join the sea. So that's pretty much what's happening in the launch of the park. This has all been built up to a 5-star park, and so the guests are ticking over pretty well. And it was built with a let's get the park up there kind of attitude. All that stuff out there. Get the park up there, get the rating there, get the people in. You can see the mass of people circulating on the sidewalk there, which is immensely wide, and there are a couple of knots of people out there. My plan was to get more serious about detailing each of the areas before doing a video on them. We'll zoom in again and try and get a couple of animal shots. For those of you who like seeing them run around, even if sometimes the Ceolophysis seem to have broken necks, it's still a lovely model. They make cool sounds, and I imagine these would be relatively lively animals for the guests to see. This is the feathered version of Ceolophysis, and that's by some energetic studies looking at the environment where these animals live. They almost certainly would have had feathers. So there it is. Thanks for stopping by. We'll be looking at another part of the park in the next video, and that'll be coming at you next week. Till then, you all take care, be kind to each other out there, and I hope I'll see you in a video. Comment, subscribe. You know how to like it. Take care.